Listen, the more you learn, the more you earn. Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Savali Freeman. Today, I want to get on here and talk to you guys about going to school while you still can, while it's still free. Getting an education and taking advantage of being able to have a free education. And I say all that because you see a couple of things going on in society. One being that they're no longer considering things like nurses as a professional career anymore, meaning that people could still become nurses, but I believe what's going to happen is that certain schools are going to cut funding for nursing programs, meaning that anybody who wants to become a nurse is going to have to essentially pay out of pocket. And we all know that school is very expensive. Those classes aren't cheap. If I had to pay out of pocket to go to college, I probably wouldn't be going, to be honest. So it's really expensive. And then on top of that, you also see that they're even cutting funding for PhD programs. And so being able to obtain a high education like a PhD, you see that that's no longer as abundant as it used to be. So you see things changing. And growing up, I'm 29 now, but growing up, college has always been, free. They've always had the FAFSA, but you can see that, for certain things, that's starting to change. And so, as you go through life, you realize that things aren't always going to be the same. Everything isn't always going to be status quo. You see a lot of things starting to change, even the fact that, we're moving from, paper money. I was at a washing machine today that I've been going to for about a year now, and, they got rid of all the coin laundry and everything is debit card now. So you see how we're slowly moving away from that and going digital. So, things are going to change. And I say all of this to say that, you don't know what education is going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It might have been free your entire life growing up, but 10 years from now, it might not be anymore. They might not do FAFSA anymore. And it might get to a point where, you either got the money to go to college or you don't. And that's going to really widen the gap between the rich and the poor because now if you're not coming from a family that, has money like that, you're not going to really be able to go to college, right? And now that's going to make the poor stay poor and the rich stay rich, right? So I say all that to say that, take advantage of free education while you can. I hear a lot of people that I talk to, people that I know of that, kind of just push education to the side. Oh, I'll go to college, I'll go next year, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't think that they're paying attention to, what's really going on. And, you might push it off and say you'll go at this time. And then as soon as you want to start going back to college, as soon as you want to start taking it serious, then boom, something happens and then, it's no longer free. They're not doing FAFSA anymore. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that, take advantage of the opportunity and get that free education while you can, while it's still free. Because if it ever got to a point where it's not free, you're going to really be kicking yourself, wishing that you would have went when it's free. So take advantage of that opportunity. I know going back to college for a lot of people who are college dropouts, who are older, it's hard, and I understand that because I was one of those individuals. But the hardest part is just starting. But once you get started, it's all downhill from there. Just start with 2 classes, basic classes, and just get the ball rolling. And once you do that, once you get into those doors, it's just all downhill from there. But just take advantage, of free education while you can, because who knows what 5 years, 10 years from now look like? We don't know. So, you don't want to presume that it's just going to always be free because the way it's looking, it might not. So, I hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope you took something away from it. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me, and I'll see you all in the next clip.